have a confession to make.
What's up?
Something embarrassing happened to me last week on my IG story. I need to start proofreading things better.
That happens to you a lot.
I know. So I didn't realize that. I know that it's AirPods, but I say ear pods. And I don't think I realized it until I literally typed out ear pods, and I was talking about how you got me ear pods for Mother's Day, which it's AirPods. And then I have one true friend, and that's not even you, because one friend slid into my DMs and was like, hey, did you know that you said ear pods and not AirPods? And did you know it's AirPods? And I was like, yes and no. And then I was like, I bet Abe didn't even pay attention to this IG story. He probably just shifted past it. And then I was looking at it.
Because you're old.
Am I?
Yeah.
Because I was...
You say a lot of stuff like that. Like, where you just mess up the name. You don't say like that. You'll be like, where are my ear pods? I'm like, that's an old person thing to do.
But you're why old. Would they name them AirPods? Like, what is air about them?
I think it's, I don't know, Courtney. But that's what they're called.
You see?
Well, I think it goes in line with everything Mac. Like, it's the Air MacBook, the
So see,
iPad
I'm
Air.
old school Mac. Like, I've been following Mac since it was Macintosh.
Yeah, that's old.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode with Abe and I. We're back at it, the collective journey. It's a Monday.
You call things cellular phone, probably.
Do not
like,
say
where's
cellular phone.
Where's my cellular phone?
Okay, and we're pivoting. What's up, guys? How are you feeling this Monday? This is what we're on today. Abe's like laughing over here in the corner. Okay, I know I do say a lot of older things. I don't keep my nose in the Urban Dictionary like you do, because I swear to God I have to pull that thing out every time we have a conversation. Read the box
for the AirPods.
I didn't realize though that I was saying ear pods. I don't think I realized it until after I wrote it out.
Close.
Whatever. So anyways, let us know. Did you know that it's AirPods, or are you going around saying earpods like me?
I'm surprised you didn't say earphones.
Earphones. I know that
Where's my wireless earphones? That's what
I know that they're AirPods, but I don't know why I started saying earpods, and then I literally started spelling it and wrote it out in a story, and nobody corrected me.
You asked me where the charger to your earpods was, and I was like, it's wireless. 2, it's the same plug as your phone.
All right, let's move on.
So yeah.
What do you got for us today? No, I'm just kidding. Can we talk about our interview that we had a couple weeks ago with our real estate agent?
Oh.
How we're doing big people things now.
Yeah, we're trying
Adulting.
we're trying to transition, right? So it's stressful. All right, so I got to leave here right before Courtney, so we have to evacuate our house, pack everything up. Courtney has to go stay in like a
hotel
or a temporary house, right? Like an Airbnb type. Stay there for like 2.5 months while I go to school, while she finishes up her time here in Germany, and I'll process for the military, and I'll processes or figures out her situation with her government job and organization, and transitions and moves that to Colorado, where we're going. And this whole time, I'm going to be going in recruiting school, and we're going to be trying to close on a house, I guess, right? Close on a house, or buy a house, or start the process. And then Courtney has to finish up the out processing here for us, like ship her car, and then leave with our 2-year-old son to the States on an 8-hour flight to
during a pandemic.
San Antonio. We're fully vaccinated now.
So now but how does that work for Levi? Like because 2-year-olds, 2 and up on a flight now have to wear a mask.
I guess he's wearing a mask. I don't know.
So, yeah, I don't really know. I like to kind of coast into things. And so from now until the month before the flight, I'm not going to really think about that.
I guess I'm going to have to like start. I'll look up the regulation and stuff like that. And hopefully you guys can get on the rotator and not have to. So that way it's just easier. But I guess maybe I'm just going to have to buy a children's mask and have them get used to wearing the mask.
I just...
It's kind of crazy, but yeah.
I just don't agree with it.
Yeah, I don't either.
And
but
I feel like I don't have a choice because I have to get to the U.S.
Yep. And I did see some people that got kicked off their flight because their 2-year-old son was uncooperative. And I'm like, damn, that's our son. Like, when he doesn't want to do something, he's not going to do it. That's it. You know?
I don't know where he gets that from.
I don't like it. I don't want to do that. So, yeah. What do you mean you don't know where he... Oh, okay. All right. So, but yeah, we had an interview with this organization pretty much. It's called like PCS Pay It Forward. And it's interesting because I'm not going to lie, I didn't really start thinking about these things until I actually, how can I say, started the process. I mean, we've been here like 5 years. We haven't moved in a while. So I was like, damn. There's people out there that could scam you coming from like take advantage that you're in transition and you're trying to find a house on like a small timeline, right? And going into a new area, especially like me, like we don't know anybody. There's nobody out there for us. The only people that we would know out there is maybe somebody at a base that's close by. And that's about it, right?
Yeah. I don't... Spaced out for a second. I feel... Well, we've been talking about this for the last year. And we've been, like, looking and on Zillow... Well, we've been on Zillow at least for the last 2 months. And we've been, like, actively watching YouTube on realtors and potential areas before we found out for the last 6 months.
Scoping out the area.
I'm like... We've been long prepared for this PCS. But
I'm like, I know Colorado, Denver, like the back of my hand now on a map, on Google Maps. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I feel like we've watched a YouTube video on every city surrounding Denver, which is crazy.
That's trippy, yeah.
I think that when we started this process, I should have just bought a book, like Buying a House for Dummies, because every step that we take, I'm just like, holy shit, I'm like not prepared for this. And then it kind of makes you go back and think like, why don't we learn this shit in high school? Like, where was I in, like life classes, Buying a House 101? Because I definitely fucking cut that class. Like, I did not show up. I didn't get a certificate or A+ because I don't really know what we're doing. And yeah, I should have been watching YouTube videos on that, I guess.
I mean, people always say that, right? Like, we should have financial literacy classes integrated into our high schools and, curriculum. But, like, honestly, I don't know. I don't think we should rely on, like, the state and the government to provide our kids with, I don't know, basic knowledge. Stuff like that.
No, but
I get where people are coming from. Like, if you want to know, you'll know, and you'll find out, and you'll read, like you said, you'll buy a book on it and everything. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that, but
okay, womp womp. No, but I do think that they should it should be instilled in our culture at some point in time that, that's what you do is you like take a class like when you're 20 or something, because I just think
I don't think it should be mandatory. I think this is just if you want to do it.
Yeah,
you do it. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. You know what, Abe? Not everybody comes fully equipped, and I don't know.
I didn't.
But for me, I think of where I was at 3.5 years ago. Maybe take it a step back, like 4 years ago, and I couldn't even think that far ahead. Like financially, I was in such a different place that to be here today and we're like going to buy a house, I'm like, holy shit, like you fucking made it. Like it's incredible to me. And then I just, like, we knew it was coming, but, like, for me, it was just, like, everything's been happening so fast, like, just trying to make it day by day. And I thought we were doing good looking up YouTube videos with realtors. And then when we sat in that interview, I was like, oh my God, there's so much to know. And I love when Abe comes on here and he's like confident as fuck. But I will tell you guys, I sat in that interview with him and I saw him on the struggle bus. He may not want to admit it, but I could tell he was a little nervous. And I will just say I was the one that was taking all the notes, so...
I can't. Well, you know me. Like I'm a lot. I'm a visual person, so I have to read it. You know, so when you're like talking to me, I'm just gonna pick up on key phrases, but like I don't fucking know. You know, I have to like go back and like find it out for myself. I'm like, oh yeah, she was talking about this. She was talking about this. This. It was a lot of information, but what's funny about that is I've been wanting to buy a house for a long time, and it's just. I've been overseas. I've been in Korea. I've been in Germany, and that's not really. It doesn't align with me buying a house. You know, I would probably have to put down like a 20% investment if I wanted to buy a house. It'd probably be I would be renting it out. It'd be for investment purposes, and yeah, I would have to put like a 20% down payment in order to get a mortgage, maybe on a house, and move forward from there, right? And then I would still have to pay another third-party organization to rent out the house for me and like be doing everything overseas. And I wasn't ready to do all that as a first-time homeowner, right? Mm-hmm. So I just put it on pause, and now here we are trying to go back to the States, and now we're trying to purchase a home and get a crash course on pretty much purchase a home. Like I have a blueprint of what we should be doing, but it's different, especially in this housing market, to purchase a home. Because I feel like it's like everything that you may have known, like throw that shit out the window.
Yeah, because everything's changed because of COVID.
Yeah, COVID, the housing market being super hot right now, and you're just like, damn, like things that I thought were kind of like, this is how I want to go about things, and I could be a little bit more picky and stuff like that. Like, you're not, you know?
Yeah. Like, we basically, I don't know. After I went in and I was like, all right. Oh, and also, can I just say that Abe threw me under the bus during that interview? Because
What?
He was like, when we were talking to them, so we talked to two people, and like we'll get into who those people were in a minute, but when we were initially interviewing, like we're telling them like what we want and what we envision, and Abe's like, and you know what, like we're not looking for like something fancy, you know, like a blogger kitchen. And I was just like, here we fucking go.
Yeah.
Why are you always throwing shade about what I like, and you're throwing out the blogger kitchen? So I follow a blogger. Her name's
It's like HDTV when, like, mind you, this is Colorado, and it's already like pretty expensive to live there, right? Like minimum $500,000 home, right? And Courtney's like, okay, well, I want a farmhouse sink, fully renovated. And I know that's like what you're in your head, you're thinking. You're like, I want a farmhouse sink. I want 2 ovens, 2 fucking what is it? Burnt or 2? What do you call that?
I'm gonna let you figure that one out. The burners?
Yes, the burners. You're like, I want 2 separate burners. I want a buffet. I want a huge island. I want a walk-in pantry.
I do want a walk-in
double
pantry.
sinks. And I want a window over the kitchen.
I
and
do.
I'm like, that overlooks into the sunset.
I never said that.
And in the backyard, I want a peacock that just roams around and shit. Like, dude, what are you talking about? You know, like, you're like, no, I want each of us to have a room. You have a room, I have a room, and then we have an office and a guest bedroom, and then Levi's room.
I said nothing about a guest bedroom. That's all you.
Okay. And a basement, you know. So I'm like, what?
I didn't say a basement. You said a basement.
Come back down here, Courtney.
Okay, so Abe likes to paint this picture that I'm like the most unrealistic person and that I am such a dreamer. But the thing is that Abe has his own stuff that he dreams up. He's like, I want a man cave. I want 2 extra bedrooms for guests. I want a basement. And I'm like, that's all cool. You can have whatever you want. But I'm just going to let you know
that you want the peacock in the backyard.
I want my own space because so much of our, do you want to call this a townhome or an apartment? I don't know. What do we live in? Condo? So much of our German apartment, it's
or condo.
It's very
condo, right?
Okay, it's a condo, you guys.
I don't know what the difference is, but
I think it's just like I would consider this let's just call it a German apartment. Anyways, so much of this space is like very open. There's our bedroom and Levi's bedroom, and that's it. And then we have a loft upstairs. But
the loft is big.
And I don't have a space that's mine. And to me, like, that's important to me. That's important. I don't even have a vanity table, you guys. I'm struggling over here, okay?
Dude, what are you talking about?
I don't even have a closet. Nobody has closets in Germany, though.
A jacuzzi tub and like a stand-in shower and like this whole
Yes, the jacuzzi tub is what gets me through the day. Okay, can we get back on topic?
Anyway, so
he was throwing me under the bus, telling these ladies that I am looking for a blogger kitchen, which that is not the case, and we need to let that go. And then can we talk about who, like, can we share with them, like, we're speaking to we're also drinking ice wine tonight, you guys. So there's that, if you heard the cork pop. But
oh, I'm sorry.
We were talking to the real estate.
If you guys are asking what ice vine is pretty much like grapes that I guess hit a frost point while they're growing them, and those grapes specifically have to have like the perfect amount of temperature. They pick these grapes off and they make wine out of it, and it's like super sweet. It's really good. It's bomb. I've never had it in the States, but I guess they have it here. And it's kind of a little bit more... Wine is super cheap here.
Oh, yeah.
Wine is super cheap here, so it's a little bit more expensive than your decent bottle of wine here.
But they do say that there's a lower alcohol content, so that like loses
I don't know what
on
they're
the
talking
popular
about, because I don't know.
That
but
was from
every time I drink it, I feel good.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, I don't even know what the alcohol, like what a normal content, because I really don't.
You don't know.
Pay attention anymore.
You don't know. Anyway,
we don't really buy it a lot. Okay, go on.
So these people, this organization, better yet, I guess they have them all over the country and in different PCS locations called Pay It Forward to PCS, and pretty much what? I
was just gonna say. On every base, or do we know like what bases?
I don't know, but
okay.
They're at this base, and I know they're at other bases. If you go on their website, they highlight like all the bases that they're at.
Well, just shout out to our military listeners that if you're in these shoes, you should look them up.
Yep, that's what I was getting at. Anyway, so one of our friends put me onto this, and he ended up buying a house. Also, he got sent to Colorado Springs, and he bought like a pretty decent home. And I was asking him like, "Yo, where'd you find your?" And he was buying it at the height of the market, summer. Like he was putting in offers and offers and offers and offers. He wasn't getting anything. But anyway, and then finally purchased a home, and he was like successful, and he did it all overseas. And literally, I think he like walked in to his house and was able like to get off the plane and go to his home pretty much, and everything was like completely set up for a home, like purchasing a home. I think that's pretty crazy, pretty intense. But I was like, man, I think I need to do something like that. Who's your realtor? And he put me onto the organization, and pretty much that's what they do is they like vet their realtors, and they like vet properties off for you and like do walkthroughs with you, and like they're really accommodating to like your schedule and being overseas and like the time change, and making sure the areas are like pretty decent and stuff like that. They're really highly recommended by like I feel like a lot of people in the military, and like I've been checking like the Facebook that they have. Every Facebook has like a different every area that they're in has like a different Facebook group. And for the most part, these people like have very positive experiences with them. So I was like, let's give it a try. So now we did like a sit down with them, right? And they're hitting me with all this information. I'm like, bah, 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 bah. And I'm like, damn, I got to research this. But the cool thing about it, right, is they're very thorough, right?
Oh, yeah.
They'll give you all this like information. They give you like pretty much like a dummies guide crash course on what to expect in this housing market today. And I thought that was like awesome, and like our little consultation, I guess, that's what you would call it, right? That shit was like 2 hours. And I was like, just like, hey, we're just going to meet you guys type. Like that wasn't even like a, how can I say it? Like now they're
like a drive-by.
Yeah. Like now they're on like the clock, I guess, right. So to speak. And, we've entered more into like that, looking for a home and stuff like that. This is just like meeting us. And the fact that, at least to me, that they took like that 2 hours to like, both of them, it was like two different people, right? One of the area that we're looking for, and kind of the lady that is like
over
the ambassador, like
yeah.
of the organization. I was like, the fact that both of them made it like really receptive. They had like a bunch of information. They emailed a bunch of information, bunch of like things to look over, contacts, areas to look at, builds like they're pretty. What'd you think? They're pretty.
Oh yeah, it was top notch.
Yeah, pretty good.
So for me, I'm
not gonna lie. I thought they were gonna let me down, and when I actually did the consultation, I was like, this is pretty like thorough. Like this
I'm
is
like,
definitely.
They gave us packets before the meeting.
This is definitely the type of people that I want to go with. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm telling you guys, if you're military and you've never used them before, like you should really look into it. We've had a positive experience and we just dipped our toes in the water. So, I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they gave us a packet before we met with them and I read through everything. And I remember, like, I was looking, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm not ready to answer all these questions. But it was basically, I guess, kind of served as an outline to what they wanted to, like, just barely, like, touch on. And then when we got in there, like, they asked us, I need people to be personable. Like, I need you to sell your shit to me in my words. Like, make me feel comfortable, bring me some tea, bring me some cookies, ask me X, Y, and Z. Like, I don't care, even if you don't care. Like, just make me think that you care. And I just
need to be hit with the facts. Like, this is what you
Abe's
need to do.
I just need all the facts.
Z. And they also did that
They
too.
They did everything.
Like, fuck, all right, cool.
They did everything. I felt like they rolled out the red carpet for us, and I was very, very pleased and happy, because it's one of those things where you're like, geez, like, what's it like if we would have just got a realtor or a real estate agent, and maybe like not through a military program, and what would that experience be like? I don't think it would be anything to compare.
Well, they're very understanding, I think, just because they have like a military background. They work with like a lot of different military people, so they already kind of have a baseline understanding of the military, which, if you hear us on our podcast, we're like constantly explaining certain things about like military life and stuff like that. So at least for me and how I look at things, I'm like, to get a realtor and then have to explain like certain things, like, oh, this is my BH, this is like my basic
housing allowance,
pretty much like the allotted money I get paid to get a home, right? Mm-hmm. That the government pays for at, the rate of the area or whatever. And for them to like kind of know, I mean, those are little things, right? But like to have to talk, redo that whole thing and like have to explain everything from step one to our realtor, and then for them to like kind of figure our situation out, right? And, then buy a home and all that stuff, which for the most part, I think most people are a little bit cognizant of like people in Colorado or in Denver. There's a lot of like government, military organizations. So there's a lot of like government people working for the government. What do you call it? Like government ambassadors or something like
Government employees?
that? Employees, yeah. In the area, so they're kind of familiar, but I didn't want to take the chance with like some random real estate agent and then like have to re-explain everything to them about my situation, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things, like, and like you said, like we didn't have to really explain much. They just asked us specific questions because they know what we do for our jobs, and so they know what to expect. They're just like, when is your leave dates? Like
when are you supposed to come here, and report no later than dates when you're supposed to come here, and like how much is your BAH, and what rank are you, and
those are all the key things that we need.
Yeah.
To somebody to know, like, these are the things that you need to ask. I will say I felt like they really held our hand.
Yeah.
And like the packet that they gave us during the meeting, like they gave us one before and then they gave us one during, that had explained a lot. And it was very, very, like Abe said, thorough. So I was really thankful for that, because they, as intimidating as it was to sit and listen, they explained everything from A to Z. And I was trying to take notes and process it all at the same time. And I just looked over at Abe and he was just like, And I was like, I know you're intimidated. You're just not going to say anything. But it was so much information. And she was like, this is a lot. I'm just letting you know, like, we're going to walk you through every step. Like, we're not just going to expect you to know. So I didn't really envision us buying a house before we got there, to be honest with you. Like, before we got this far, where we're at now.
I would really like to.
That's what we're aiming for. Like, that's the dream. That's the goal. That's what we're going to, try to make happen. But before we even got this far, like, in my head, I had envisioned us, like, physically going to see houses. But then when reality steps in on, like, what our timeline is and coming from overseas to the States, and you're like, it's a better idea that if we can, that we just have a house versus putting us at an inconvenience even longer.
Right. We would have to get either into a temporary house that's already fully furnished, pay out of pocket for that, or get a short-term lease in an apartment, move our stuff into our house, get settled, then pay for movers to move our house into our next home if we were to get one, or rent a home to figure out the area. I was just like, that's it. We'll do it.
But to do it now, like in this way, and we're coming from overseas, like, to me, it's intimidating. But I was actually talking to one of our friends, and who moved from the state, or from here back to the States, like, why our kids were like 4 months old. And she was like, I will tell you, like, aside from the fact that it was a nightmare because, the babies were so little and I was breastfeeding and I was sleep deprived. She was like, but it is a nightmare moving from overseas to, like, back to the States. She was like, it's such an adjustment. So I think anything that we can do to make our lives easier is, whether, we suffer now to have a peace of mind later, then that's what we do. So I'm really thankful for them, because I think they're going to work really well with us. And I felt, like they really cared. Like, they really did.
Yeah, and one of the things I think was kind of cool too is, they know that the housing market is crazy, right? And they're like,
really
hey,
broke that down.
Yeah, they're like, and if you don't know, now you know, housing market's crazy, right? It's not uncommon for, like, people to ask more money over asking price, shit like that, right? Where normally you would not do that, right? Like, if you're asking for the asking price, you were like a shoo-in. You're like, oh, they're asking, they're hitting our number. Cool, we're moving with that. But yeah, they were like, if you decide that you don't want to get a home, then there's a lot of rental homes that we can put you guys in, and that's fine. And I was like, great. Mm-hmm. Cool. So intense, but
and then
we're moving forward.
Can we talk about, so for me, like, I didn't think also another thing, like it feels like this is what you had in your head. This is what you envisioned, but this is reality. Abe, you guys, has been prepping me for a remodeling of a house for 3 years. I've done nothing but watch HGTV with him.
I love that shit.
And I'm not an HGTV person. Like, that's not for me, okay? That's not my journey. I want to walk into a house that's already fixed. Like, I don't want to fix it. But I'm
like, oh, Chip and Joanna Gaines is on? Bet. It's my show.
I'm not going to lie, you guys. I know this is so embarrassing to say, but I really, like, was not on that train until I moved here. And Abe and I started watching their show. Like, I could care less, which is embarrassing because I'm from Texas. But I love them now. And I like the whole process, but that's still not my thing. Like, I still will look at you to kind of, like, guide us through the, like, remodeling and whatever your vision is. Because to me, like, that doesn't come to me naturally. But we were so, I feel like, you know, we've just talked about so long getting, like, a fixer-upper that when we sat down and had this meeting with them, the option was there, kind of like not even really an option, like, hey, just so you know, like, your reality is that you might not find, like, a house that's not a pre-build, right? That's what we call it. That's what they're called, pre-builds. Am I saying it wrong?
Like a home that you would build.
Yeah, like the pre-builds.
Yeah.
They kept talking about, like, you know, like in this area and that area, like pre-builds are really a big deal, and you might have a better chance of getting a house if you go with a pre-build. And I was like, holy shit, like, I didn't even think about that. Like, I didn't even know that was really an option out there, because we were focused so much on, like, let's buy a house that's a fixer-upper.
It's just with that whole thing, too, is the whole pre-build thing, right? Like, the price of lumber is wood, right? It's, like, super expensive right now. So your normal cost for building a home is already, like, double, right? It's crazy. Like, they have, like, all these memes, like, selling a bag of sawdust, right, for, like, $20. Shit like that, right? So that is already, like, super expensive. And then you get into things like the virus, things like that. Like, not every company is back online. Getting materials is a little bit more difficult. And then the timeline that we would be pretty much getting to Colorado, in the time they would be building our home, they would either have to be wrapping it up because it'd be getting towards winter. Mm-hmm. And then it's going to be snowing and stuff like that. And you only have so many days where you could be out there working, and it just prolongs the time that we would be able to get in our home, right? And we might have to get, like, a home somewhere else temporarily, come out of pocket with that. And I was just like, I
don't know. They said that it would more than likely be done by the time we got there. They said
6 to 8 months. They were like, if you want to do it,
they did say that.
You got to do it now. You have to pull the trigger now. And I was just like, fuck that. I got like 3 more months here in Germany, and then two and a half more or a month and a half. I don't know. November's our time, right? So to get to Colorado. Anyway, and I was just like, man, I don't know, and then I don't like that they're super close to everything, especially living in our, like, little condo, like, is this standalone condo thing, right? We don't have any neighbors, nothing, like, pretty peaceful, but yeah.
It's going to be another form of a culture shock to go back from, like, not having neighbors to having neighbors.
I don't want carpet.
Okay, tell us what you want. I
don't want carpet. I can't go back. I'm spoiled.
I need heated floors.
It's not happening.
I know. I wanted to throw it up. I can dream.
I guess I could do it.
If you can
I guess I
see
could
it,
do
you
it.
believe it, you can manifest it.
Pipe it in. But no.
No carpet.
Can't do the carpets. That's, like, on my list. That's money already set aside.
Yeah.
Hardwood floors or tile, whatever it is, I don't care.
Yeah, we're not
No
going back
carpet.
to carpet.
Can't do it. I need the little Roomba going around and my little handheld Dyson vacuum. Hey, let's go. That's it. That's all I need. I don't need carpet, dead skin, dog hair, all sorts of nasty. I can't do it.
And so what else? What else is a deal breaker?
I think that's it.
That's it for you?
Well, that's not a deal breaker. That's something that I'm going to do. But
Well, you know what I mean.
want a
come on.
basement. Need the basement.
And why do we need a basement? Like, what's going in this basement that's so important?
For all my activities.
Okay, for Abe's activities, you guys. All right.
Yeah.
And so what's next?
That's it.
That's
Decent
it?
backyard. I'm not picky.
We do want a decent backyard. So I think that was like one of the things that we said, like, if we can, that we do want a good backyard because we want to be able to grow our own crops. Is that too intense?
No. A garden. You want a garden.
A garden.
You're making it
not
seem like we're
crops.
going to have like a farm.
Well, we do want a farm. We're going to have chickens.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't think that we can have chickens
Can
in
you
it.
have chickens?
An
in
HOA.
Colorado? I'll have chickens.
So then we were talking about like HOA versus non-HOA because I've never lived anywhere that we were paying into a HOA.
You lived in an apartment complex, right? Essentially, you're paying
As an
HOA
adult,
for that.
I was talking about as a kid living in a house.
Oh. Well, I don't know.
Yeah. So to me, like the whole HOA thing,
good.
I'm like, that's so
It's good
out
and
of my
bad.
realm of knowledge.
No, yeah, it's good. It's good and bad, right? They keep the place clean, but also you might have some like angry people coming around and being like, "Your Christmas lights haven't been taken down."
Yeah, see,
And
I can't deal with that. I will
you know
cuss
what though?
somebody
But like
out.
sometimes you need that reality check. You shouldn't have your Christmas lights on, like all year.
You know what? Wait till they come for you and then tell me what you think about it.
I'll tell them. I'll let them know. I'm like, how much is the fine? All right, fuck out of
Because
here. No, I'm just kidding.
you like to start fights. Like
No, I don't. No,
you
I
do.
don't.
Not like arguments. Like you're not afraid to like tell somebody off just like down the street, you know? Like I could
mean,
see
no,
you
no,
get an
no.
argument with our neighbors, our future neighbors, dear God.
What?
Yeah, I can. Maybe not next door neighbors, but like somebody a few houses down, somebody says something that's too smart. And
Oh no, I don't do passive aggressive. I'm like, no, we're not doing this passive aggressive shit today. Like, you're gonna tell me how you feel. I'm gonna tell you how I feel, and we're gonna be adults about it. Like, that's it.
I don't think we're gonna find people like that in Colorado, though.
You never know. But anyway,
That's true.
no.
Okay, so
But you're making me seem like I'm like some sort of villain. Like I'm out there like
You
hey,
are.
Hey.
No,
fuck
but you just wait. You just, you're like, let somebody say something.
Well, why would they?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
right.
know what it's like living in a HOA, okay? These are unknown
you're right.
waters for me.
Train to go. Like,
Okay, I want to talk about what I
Train
want
to
in our
go.
house. I want to talk about what I want in our house.
I'm just saying, yeah, if somebody's rude to me, I'm gonna be like, hey, I don't like that.
Okay.
Like, and I don't care.
And I don't care. I don't think that's how it's gone down before. But so I did tell them that I need lots of storage and I need a nice sized pantry, okay? Because that's where my vision is. I'm like, I want this pantry to be nice and organized because the way that we're living now is driving me nuts. You guys, we have no closets, we have no pantries. Everything
a
is
walk-in
squished together. It's unorganized. The walk-in closet is small. Anyways,
It's a walk-in closet, Courtney.
I know that they don't even have closets in Germany and that we're very fortunate. But
To not only have a closet, but a walk-in closet.
yes, but it is still small. I'm not going to argue with you on this
There's
one.
like 10
on the
shoe
podcast.
racks in there and whatever.
You even said
There's a
you were like,
dresser
we
in
don't have
there.
enough room for your
There's a
clothes when I
dresser
moved in. That's what he
in the
said, you
walk-in
guys.
closet.
He was
You
like,
have
we don't
so
have
much
enough room for
clothes.
your clothes. You have more clothes than me. Okay, so
That's
we're
a
moving
lie.
along.
Let's
It's
take a
not a
picture of
lie.
it. Anyway, so
You're right, because actually, okay. So,
yeah.
all right, I was wrong. So, I want a nice sized pantry, And I did not tell them that I want a farm sink. I didn't say that. I don't care about a farm sink.
I'm surprised you didn't pull it out.
We've had so many conversations because I didn't even know it was like a huge phenomenon that it was until one of my friends got a house and was like telling me about farm sinks. And I was like, I live in an apartment. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And then me and you had a very extensive conversation about how you shouldn't buy farm sinks because porcelain scratches, right? That's what you said?
A porcelain scratch, yeah.
Yeah. And so we have had discussions about other kind of sinks that we like. And I didn't talk about that because I could really care less. I want a pantry. I want lots of space. And I told them that my most important thing was that they better put us next to a Whole Foods because I miss Whole Foods and that's my grocery store and that's where I want to be when I go back to the States. I want to be with Whole Foods. Because moving here was a shock in a way that like everything's different. And
Like,
then if I want
everything is
American,
Whole Foods?
yes, but I like specific brands that you can get from Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. And when I want, I don't care. I like what I like. I like what I like. Anyways, so like I was saying, and when I want American
Don't
things,
believe her. She's a phony.
I'm not a phony. When
You just told me the other day, you were like, I didn't even know how to say quinoa.
quinoa.
And I'm like, this
So
is
me-
the girl that shops at Trader Joe's. Okay,
Yeah. So, okay. So
You're
you
like,
know what? Not
where's the
everybody's the
quinoa?
same that shops at Trader Joe's. Okay. I'm not like 100% crunchy granola. We're like 20% there. And then I became a mom and it shot me up to like 40%. So there you go. Yes. I didn't know how to pronounce quinoa. I didn't know what it was, Abe. And I was at the grocery store. I literally told him the story the other day, you guys. I was at the grocery store and asked the lady. I was with a friend. We were trying to find it. And I was like, do you know where the quinoa is? And she was like, quinoa? And I spelled it out for her. She goes, that's quinoa. And I was like, okay, whatever. We're trying to elevate ourselves over here. And I was like, we're trying to eat better and eat healthier. So can you just take us to wherever this fucking grain is?
Where's the grainy grain? The grainiest of grains.
So
It
there you
tastes
go.
like
You know
grain.
what? Some of us don't even know what that is.
Where's the
we could have
couscous?
educated somebody today.
Where's the couscous?
It's couscous.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Thank you. You said it right.
I could pull some stories out for you. No, but to me, that's really important. Like coming here and realizing like, oh, you know, like these things that you're accustomed to from these stores, like you're not going to have anymore because the only option you have is the commissary, which is a grocery store on base. And to be honest with you, they don't have all my favorite brands. So, you know what? Me and the commissary aren't really tight like that. Not like me and Whole Foods.
Yeah.
So,
I guess
that's
it
my
is
story.
crazy. You can get like really nice bread for $1. Like super
Where?
nice bread. In Germany. Anywhere in Germany.
Yeah, I'm not talking about bread. I'm talking about certain brands. Like, I am very accustomed to, like, salad dressing. A specific type of salad dressing that I like that I have missed for
Dude,
the last 3 years I've been
what?
here.
Okay.
So for me,
Moving
it was
on.
really important. And then she was talking about, so the real estate agent was like, well, we don't really have Whole Foods in like certain areas. We have Sprouts. And just so you guys know, if you're listening and you're from Colorado, let us know what Sprouts is. Because I was like, I don't know what Sprouts
Yeah.
is. I only know what Whole Foods is, and that's what I want.
Looks good.
So to me, those were my things that were important. And then we have, I feel like we have a shitload more stuff to do. Like we barely just dipped our toes in the water with searching for the house and all of that stuff.
That's a lot.
So like that's all that we've been doing is looking at houses. They've been sending us houses. We've been on Zillow looking in surrounding areas that we're interested in. And that has literally been the story of our lives lately.
Yeah.
It has consumed us. It's like we sit at the dinner table and Abe is like on his phone on Zillow. Like, look at this house. Look at that house. I'm like going to bed, scrolling through Zillow. I'm like getting email notifications looking.
I like Zillow. I was doing that before. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I guess
It's
it's
about
just
the journey, you know.
it's about the journey. I'm
It's
not
about the
complaining.
journey.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know. It's just, it's really time consuming because you're thinking about this is a huge purchase, and you want to make sure that you're making the right one.
It's deep.
Is
It's
it
a big
deep?
purchase, yeah. Like it's a $500,000 purchase, right?
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, it has consumed our life.
Which
It's
is
all we do.
crazy to think about. Because we're like Texas homes are like what, like
Cheap.
$60,000, right?
Yeah, like I grew up thinking that if you had like a $200,000 home,
Like you're
That's a
stacked,
lot.
right? But yeah, and then I'm like, even in Stockton homes were, I would say, about the same, right? We had like when I left Stockton, it was like the height of the market, so it wasn't uncommon to see like a $500,000 home, a newer home, right? And now we're moving to Colorado, and same thing, kind of, we're at the peak, somewhat, and yeah, I'm like, man, how long are we gonna have this house? Are we gonna rent it out? When we leave,
and
we're gonna be 3 years, 4 years. Are we gonna stay longer? What's gonna happen? Like, it's a lot.
it is a lot. And another thing that we didn't mention is that with us moving, because, for example, in a normal military PCS, permanent change, which stands for permanent change of station, I don't know if we've said that before, / move, we would just be going to a base. So all our amenities or like, Levi, we have a son, so we're a military family. So like Levi's daycare, it's going to be at the base. Abe's job, it's going to be at the base. Our house needs to be near the base. So that would be like our central location. But because that's not our case, because as Abe's going into a new career field, it doesn't put him at a base. So we are kind of spread out at the moment. Like Abe knows where he's going to be working, but we technically don't know where Levi is going to be. And that's another thing that I had to make a call this week about, was Levi's daycare. And I was just like, oh my God, it's so over here we have different set of restrictions with our daycare compared to in the States. And they were telling me that it's like a long waiting list. And because I will be going back to the States as a civilian, and as of right now, I don't have a job when I go back to the States. I've been looking, but like I don't have anything. So she was telling me where we rank on the list. And it was like, you don't rank as any priority. And then when I told her, okay, and then when I get a job, like, where do we rank? And she was like, you're going to move up just a little bit. And I was like, okay.
But explain that, why?
Because of COVID restrictions, they are not taking any new kids into the daycare. So
Yeah, and your priority, right, falls on if you're a single parent, if you're military to military, if you're military government employee, which is what we are, you're like at the bottom of the list of getting into the CDC, because they don't identify, or at least the military does, they identify that as like you could leave that job, I guess, right? You're not bound to some sort of contract, or I don't know, so, but you are and you aren't. But yeah, like they're like the needs of the military versus the needs of like other government organizations. So it's odd. But yeah.
So everybody's ranked in a priority right now because of COVID, and they're not. There's like all these stipulations and stuff that's going on, and basically it's like, it's one of those reminders, because we're already settled here. So when COVID happened, there wasn't really anything that we had to worry about. And then with Levi's school, except for when they started cutting people back, and that was when we got a little scared, because there were certain people that couldn't bring their kids in. And then there were certain people that were allowed to continue to bring their kids in throughout COVID, except for when everything completely shut down. And so now that we're going back, it's just one of those reminders that, A, you have to start over again from ground zero, and B, you have to remember that we're still in the middle of the pandemic, and we have no end to it as of right now. And we don't know when these rules are going to go away. And as of right now, we're not really sure where we're going to be sending him. So, like, that's a big thing for us as far as like moving back to the States.
Yeah.
So to kind of rope it back and get back to my point is that when we were talking to the real estate agent, she was like, these are all potential places that you guys could live that would be convenient, more convenient for Abe, maybe more convenient for you, because I kind of gave her a list of like, here's a list of potential places that I think I will be working. And then it came down to Levi, and we just assumed like, okay, we're going to just stick Levi at the base. But then after the interview with the
commute times and all that stuff.
Yeah, we had commute times. But then when I did the interview with the school liaison, it was like, oh, okay, reality check. You may need to find somewhere else to send your kid for daycare. And so...
That's a whole thing too, because the CDC, right? Although, we've had somewhat of a pretty positive experience at the CDC. Like, we like what they do with Levi. They taught him sign language, like all these like different things, right? At a very young age.
The CDC is
the Child Development Center. Anyway, so it's the daycare, and they've done all these things pretty much for Levi that, he comes home and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know they're like teaching him this. Like he was learning sign language from like 6 months on. At a year, he was like signing and all that stuff. So somewhat, they've helped him develop, right, as a human. So with that being said, it's pretty affordable. Like, it's really affordable in comparison to putting your kid in actual daycare. Like, we were looking at one of these daycares. It was like the Montessori type school or whatever. I know you're like, that's where I want to send him. That's the type of curriculum that I want. But you're talking about like $1,000 a week for the 8-hour work schedule that we would need him to be watched. And it's not like we don't have like my mom or Courtney's mom or sister that could be like, oh yeah, drop off the kid with the grandparents and they'll be fine. Like, we're there trying to make it on our own. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. We did find a school though that we did like, and I feel like that's one thing though, being in the military and being a veteran, is that they offer you what, your military, your active duty, like there's always places and programs put in place to help military families out. And then if you're a veteran, usually there's some type, either you receive the same type of service or maybe you receive like a discounted price. And so those are real life things that we're going through that we're looking at right now. And, it's just one of those realities that this is all what it takes to move from overseas back to the States. And it's all just unraveling, and we'll see how it works out. Stick with us.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
Crazy. Yeah. So if you guys have any tips and tricks, yeah, any advice on our journey trying to buy our first home, let us know. Hit us up on the Collective Journey podcast, and we're out.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Stay gold.